Hello, I'm Dr. Chaudhry, and welcome to FSMB Spotlight. Our guest today is Dr. Darrell Kirch, the President and CEO of the AAMC, the Association of American Medical Colleges. The AAMC represents the nation's 151, at the last count, maybe more, accredited MD granting U.S. medical schools, as well as 400 major teaching hospitals and health systems. Dr. Kirch is a distinguished physician, educator, medical scientist, and friend. He is a psychiatrist by training who graduated from the University of Colorado, where he got his BA and MD degrees and received his initial training. In 1993, he was acting scientific director of the National Institute of Mental Health, not too far from here. He is the author of more than 150 articles and book chapters and has served as a medical school dean twice, a hospital CEO, co-chair of the LCME, the Liaison Committee on Medical Education, and since 2006, CEO of the AAMC. Earlier this year, he announced that he will be stepping down next year following an impressive 13-year record of service to the AAMC. Darrell, welcome.
Thank you so much for the honor of being invited to the Spotlight series.
Well, we're honored to have you. So the AAMC has been around since the centennial of our nation, right? It was established in 1876.
Correct.
It's done a lot for the promotion of undergraduate medical education. Its initial focus was to improve medical education, which remains a significant priority. But it's done much more than that, obviously, over the years, promoting biomedical research, supporting an affordable and accessible healthcare system, facilitating responsible management of our nation's medical schools and teaching hospitals. During your tenure of at least a dozen years, what has been the most impressive and biggest highlight for you?
I think there's no question. If you look back to 2006, since then, the most important thing that's happened in healthcare in the United States and for academic health centers was the passage of the Affordable Care Act. Looking beyond the politics that are involved in healthcare, you can't ignore the fact that that cut the number of Americans without health insurance by roughly 20 million people. And we all know as physicians that when you have health insurance, you are likely to lead a longer and higher quality of life. So that stands out above all. There were other changes, a recent reversal in the decline in NIH funding, for example. But when it comes to what all Americans should care about, the ACA passages.
So I have to ask you, since there are some challenges across the country to the ACA, there are many elements, though, that are here to stay, probably. How do you see it playing out in the years ahead?
I think there will be constant political battles about aspects of the ACA, but every study suggests that Americans value better access to affordable health insurance. And I think the pressure on policymakers will be relentless to expand that access, not restrict it.
Health, as always, will be where the challenges lie. Darrell, it's an exciting time, some would say, to be a doctor. Many of the nation's medical schools are doing some exciting and innovative things with their curricula. There's greater use of technology than ever before in teaching as well as patient care. There's team-based care, interprofessional education. At the same time, getting into medical school hasn't gotten any easy. It remains competitive. And at the same time, we've seen many instances in recent years where there's medical student stress, physician stress, anxiety, depression even among students and interns. Some of that is not new, but there seems to be more talk about it than ever before. Some doctors, including people you and I know, are actually urging people not to go into medicine. What do you say to someone interested in medicine today?
There's really not much I have to say. What we've seen just in my tenure at the AAMC is the number of applicants to our schools has increased from 39,000 to over 51,000.
Even with increases in number of schools and class sizes?
Yes. The number of matriculants has increased by almost 25%, and it's going to increase more as some of the newer schools come online. I think regardless of what they hear, applicants, potential physicians understand that there are few, if any, professions that give them a chance to have a more real impact on people's lives. They still see medicine as a gratifying profession, and quite honestly, the things that are frustrating to today's doctors, they plan to change, and that gives me great hope for the future.
Very good. The AAMC and the FSMB, like a lot of other organizations in healthcare, in the House of Medicine, belong to something called the Coalition for Physician Accountability, which you have, Darrell, strongly supported and championed from the very beginning. Tell me why such a group is so important in this day and age.
That group, which FSMB was a major driver in helping bring about, filled a real void for us. So in the alphabet soup of organizations with other acronyms that are involved in medicine, often we were each looking at one part of the continuum of becoming a physician. What we needed was a place, a safe space, where we could really come together and talk about the whole ecosystem of how a physician starts their career, masters the practice of medicine throughout their lifetime. The coalition, by bringing together all the diverse entities involved in accrediting programs, certifying, licensing physicians, assessing their progress over time, they come together, and it's created an opportunity to really talk about how do we decrease some of the burdens that stress physicians. What are the issues that we should all be speaking about with one voice to policymakers? That void, I think, held us back for many years, and now the coalition, I think, has become a key entity in bridging the gap.
Well, kudos to you for your role in making it happen.
Thank you.
Finally, as we come to the close of your tenure at the AAMC, I'm curious, what do you plan to do with your life? Hopefully you'll stay engaged.
I'll stay engaged. I have been between heading medical schools and teaching hospitals in the AMC. I've been in a full-time CEO role for now 26 years. I'm enjoying altering the pace a little, but we have big issues facing us as a profession that I plan to be very engaged in. I think first and foremost for me, that's the issue of clinician well-being. We face terribly high rates of burnout among physicians, and tragically, high rates of depression and even suicide. And we're finally acknowledging that as a profession publicly, and I plan, among other things, I plan to remain very involved in the effort to turn the tide on this, to, as many people will say, bring the joy back to medical practice.
Well, we wish you all the very best in the months and years ahead. Thank you, Darrell, for your service, your continuing service to the nation.
And I thank you. One of the most gratifying things in my tenure at the AMC has been what a great partner FSMB has been for my organization and all the others.
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. Stay well, and see you next time.